Hi, my name is Alon Pillay. I am a senior at the University of Denver, studying marketing with a minor in management. Um, the session I'm going to be talking to you about today is driving personal health forward, the role of iPhone and Apple Watch. And the speakers in this were Sumbul Ahmad Desai and Liz Plosser. Um, Desai is the VP of Health at Apple, and uh, Liz Plosser is the editor in chief at Women's Health. So it was an interesting conversation. Um, the I thought that I would have liked to hear a little bit more from Desai, but um, it was a really fascinating conversation nonetheless. And so some of the main, topics that they covered were, the benefits of Apple Watches, the birth of the Apple Watch, um, digitalization of healthcare, um, and those are pretty much, the three main uh, topic areas that were discussed. And then they also discussed women's health and the implications of, using the Apple Watch in women's health, and I'll sort of go through some of the cool things I collected. Um, So the main, benefit of Apple Watches is data collection. Um, the huge amount of data that can be collected from all the users that use Apple Watches is immense. And in the context of women's health, this was important in the conversation because up until about 30 years ago, which I didn't know this, women were not allowed in clinical trials. I mean, that's for a number of reasons, but one of them being discrimination. Um, but because of this, there are just large holes in data sets for women, and their biology is very different, you know, um, and their biochemistry is extremely different. So, um, different health approaches may need to be taken, depending on um, the sex of the person. Um, so, Apple Watches were really helpful in filling the gap of non-existent data for women. And one example that she had said was that, the last data collection on like women's cycles was done in like the 60s or 70s. And, um, you know, things like this can change over time, as the human, as genetics changes over time. And so they were able to really quickly fill this gap of data and now provide a new study on cycles and how it's linked to other health effects for women. Um, really aggregate and soak up that data and use it for something good. And then another benefit of Apple Watches is, it encourages a wide array of easy lifestyle changes. So like, there's like a meditation app. I got one right now. I love this thing. I'm probably gonna get a new one because the tech is so good now. But um, it's got a EKG, it's got a heart rate monitor. It has a activity um, workout, like all sorts of things that give somebody a wide range of small incremental changes that they can make as you know with as little resistance as possible. And that was sort of their goal, was that you know they want to give as many options as possible to people. They don't expect everybody to use everything. They don't, I mean, as much as they would want somebody to, they know it's not realistic, but they want to be able to give people the means to you know connect their own different types of health and biofeedback, and then be able to draw conclusions from that. And right now, the major things that they're working on improving are, detection of AFib, which is a potentially life-threatening disorder when your heart doesn't beat properly. They have low heart rate detection and high heart rate detection, which can help, to notify you of a possible cardiac event or, a long-term disease. And the big thing too is, and especially what they're working on right now, and trying to not network, but explain to physicians, is that this can act as a long-term health snapshot. So it can allow your doctor to look at your life outside of the clinics. Because I mean, I don't know about you, but me personally, I've been to the doctor a million times, and I'm like, oh, this is wrong. I'll call the doctor, be like, okay, come on in. I come on in and it's gone. And you're like, I can't really describe the pain or, what was really going on, because it's not happening to me right now. And then, well, there's not much they can do at that point. They kind of need you to help describe exactly how you're feeling to help diagnose. And so, this can act as like a data tracker for like something like that. Like if you have a small cardiac event, you have slight AFib, right? Well, you go into the doctor a week later and say, this happened. Like they do their tests and nothing shows up. It's like, we don't really know what happened. But with this, they would. And something crazy that she had mentioned that I really thought was important was that, she was the VP of Health at Apple, Desai, receives letters like every day saying how, people saw their low heart rate or high heart rate or AFib thing go off, and then went to the hospital and, were able to catch it early enough to be able to, have a procedure or get medical intervention that actually completely saved their life, because, the doctors were like, wow, if you didn't come in, you would have been dead. So that was pretty cool. And the one thing I was also surprised about, because when I think of Apple, I think of, like highly organized, very scientific, but they had said that the growth of the Apple Watch was extremely organic, and it just became like a conversation about a bunch of random, unconnected things that sort of kind of came together. And the one thing they said was, once all that random stuff started to come together and paint a better, clearer picture of what they wanted to create, they took science-based approaches, and designed different things like the EKG app on here, and then realized that people liked it and it worked. And then they essentially just take a look at the things that they know work, and they keep pulling on those threads and seeing like how good they can make them. And they just want to make the things that work the best they possibly can before, creating something new. So that's kind of their take on that. But my thoughts in general are that, this is the future, and with less and less face time with physicians, it's important to, have data available to get a good diagnosis, because it's hard to get a good diagnosis nowadays because we don't have a lot of time with the physician. I think this will, help solve the problem, but also a part of me thinks that this could compound the problem, because digitization in itself is sort of what's causing this, lack or decrease in face-to-face, with physicians, which I think is extremely important. Trust and relying on your doctor, and your doctor telling you what to do, post-operatively, having that trust actually is proven to help patient outcomes. So this can be, this could be great, this could be bad, but we'll have to see.